a studio series comes out in a couple of months. Let's see, it's August. Goodness gracious. You know, with all the crap that's happened in 2020, time's flown by real quick. So why don't we make it fly by quicker by going over, well, all the studio series figures I do and do not own. I'll talk about all the ones from each film. I'm going to go film by film, kind of, or more just group by group, like for my display, to kind of make each video a little shorter, make it easier to manage. And my figures start off with the 2007 Autobots. We got 6 figures here, so let's get to the chase. Shall we? Let's. Starting off with the number one. I'll cut that out. Starting with number 1, Bumblebee, the very first figure in the wave, and oh boy, if this is a really bad way to start the wave off. Oh boy. The figure's fine until you start to mess with it, because you get a lot of problems with this thing. Now, if you just have it in one mode, it's usually not a problem. Usually, really the only actual problem with the robot mode, I've heard some people say loose joints. The joints on my Bumblebee are pretty tight actually. They're not too bad, and well, the only problem is, you know, the arm just falls off way too easily. Like, I'm pretty sure I could just, you know, yeah, it just falls off really easy. I barely tapped that thing. Where did the arm go? Hold up. There it is. Yeah, so the arm falls off really easily, but not a problem. You can just take it and just plug it into his ass right there, and it's just right. You just plug it into his butt, and it stores there for you to swap it with the cannon, which is honestly the best looking cannon in all Bumblebee figures, mainly because it's on the right arm, which you'll usually see Bumblebee using his right arm for the cannon, other than his left arm. But that has like shiny silver paint, which is why it beats the Last Night Deluxe Bumblebee. Honestly, just the way they did it, like, okay, you remove the arm, put the cannon on, there you go. Yes, it has the flaw of having some QC issues, but we'll get to that later. QC stands for quality control. And also the backpack, it just sort of, holy crap, it's actually staying on. What? There we go. There we go. That was crazy. I tried to demonstrate what happened and just stayed on. So, it was weird. So, this part of the card mode is supposed to connect to, like, the hood back here, but basically there's no pin running through the connection area. It's like a hinge. It's like all fold up into his back. There's no pin going through this part right here. So it falls apart. It just falls off really easily. Usually you can manage, usually you can manage to transform it without having to, but you have to be careful with it. But on my copy, there's no way. It's actually warped. This part is actually warped on this piece, so there's no way to actually do it. So I just remove it, put it off the side. If you don't like parts forming, you're not going to like it. But if you don't mind parts forming, then that's all you got to do, and the transformation's way less frustrating. You know? It's kind of like a life hack with this thing. Just put it off to the side, and the transformation's way less frustrating and actually kind of enjoyable. Because it's not a bad transformation, other than those few bits. So if you really hate the fact that his arm falls off way too easily and the backpack falls off, there is the number 27 Clunker Bumblebee that basically improves upon that, adds the rust details to the car mode. Speaking of car mode, here's a car mode for this guy, an officially licensed 1977 Camaro. And, you know, there is the Clunker Bumblebee. It has more rust details on the car mode. It, you know, it improves on the flaws of, like, the arm and the backpack. But it does kind of it does screw up the robot mode when it comes to paint apps a little bit. Even for some reason, adding more silver to the cannon arm here, because, like, the cannon is molded in yellow plastic, but they painted over most of it in silver, but left the parts that should be yellow, like this little arm guard here, yellow, in the yellow plastic. But on the Clunker Bumblebee, they painted it over in silver. I'm just like, why? It's fine this way. I don't get it. Hasbro makes no sense. Overall, not a bad figure. I just feel like people just kind of blow things out of proportion. But then again, that's kind of how it is. People blow things out of proportion for Hasbro figures, but they just kind of act like flaws or a normal thing on Masterpiece figures. Again, this is a sucky fandom to be a part of sometimes, especially when you're in the toy collecting stuff. Alright, so yeah, that's number 1 Bumblebee. It's not a bad figure. If I recommend getting one version of it, I recommend getting the Clunker Bumblebee. Because there are a bunch of repaints. There's one where you basically customize it with a bunch of vehicle mode parts. And so they're only available for vehicle mode. It comes with a Human Minifigure, Charlie. It's for the Bumblebee movie. And stickers, it's dumb. It's really dumb. There's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive gold repaint with some G1 cassettes. Which, you know, sounds fun, but it's like, it's just useless. Yeah. So, next figure we got is the number 4 Ratchet. And this guy is he's cool. He's a cool one. Honestly, a lot of people say he's so green, but you can actually kind of see on camera. There is some color in there to break up the green. I mean, personally, I don't mind. I don't mind Ratchet this figure being the super green, because it makes it pop on the shelf. I mean, would you rather him just be another shade of dull gray? It makes him pop. Yeah, alone he may kind of be a bit of an eyesore, but when you actually look closely at him, you can see there's some other colors in there to break up the green. Yes, there are certain sections like the arms. They don't have much color on them. Whatever, you turn around to the back and yeah, he's gonna be freaking bright green. There's not much paint back there, but it's the back. Usually on Hasbro figures, you're supposed to ignore the back. You're supposed to ignore this part. It's a Hasbro figure. It's gonna have kibble. And yeah, a lot of people complain about this. Yeah, this is a bit of a problem. Wish this could have folded up more, but wish it could have folded up better. But it's not a huge deal. It's not a deal breaker, but it still kind of sucks. One thing it includes is his buzzsaw weapon, which does plug into his arm via a 5mm port. It's pretty cool. You can plug other weapons into this. You can plug guns, missiles, all that cool stuff. You can definitely plug some siege weapons in there. It's cool, but for now, buzzsaw, which is painted nice silver. This figure actually has more silver paint on it than the Dark of the Moon version, even though the Dark of the Moon version has more silver paint on the face. It's weird. Oh, forgot to mention, head sculpts. Let me take these two. Head sculpts on these two are phenomenal. Yeah, Ratchet may not have as much paint as the head sculpts are really great. Hasbro almost always nails the head sculpts. Like they almost always do a really good job. All right, yeah, and Ratchet's not bad. He does turn into an official licensed Hummer ambulance, which is I don't think it's a real thing. I think it's just Michael Bay came up with it. It's cool. I can respect that. So yeah, we got Ratchet here. Not a bad figure. Pretty well articulated. Like, look at this knee bend. Got a ball jointed ankle. It's just a really good figure. But you know, that's basically it. I mean, it is. I think it's a heavy remold of the Dark of the Moon Deluxe Ratchet, but the actual Dark of the Moon Deluxe Ratchet. But I don't own the figure. I can't really tell you. Overall, it's a good figure. It does scale well. I'll definitely show you a picture of all these guys. Oh, one more thing to talk about the Bumblebee. My brain's skipping out on this. He is a heavy remold of the Last Night Deluxe Bumblebee, the second version of it. Pretty cool, and this of course takes a lot of heavy inspiration from the masterpiece movie Bumblebee. Yes, I have Bumblebees. Which if you're gonna copy off of any figure, might as well copy off of this one, right? Yeah, right. And wow, they're falling over. Okay, whatever. You stay there. Yeah. Just so I'm like, you know, that's basically what it is. The only thing is, this one, the Studio Series Bumblebee is a bit smaller than Last Time Bumblebee, and that is a problem to contention. That is kind of a bit of problem that people have with. That's a problem people have with Studio Series. They're smaller, but I don't care. Speaking of small, oh boy. Get Jazzmeister, and I was gonna start him off in vehicle mode, but I decided not to because I want to edit more out of the video. But a huge problem people have with this figure. It's tiny. It is a deluxe class figure, but that's fine. It's accurate to the movie. And the thing about the studio series is that they're trying to be accurate to the films. So it's like, if they're small, that usually, like, so Jazz being small is accurate to the film. And the figure looks pretty cool. Oh, this part is a little bit annoying. It doesn't actually lock in, so it can't just all of a sudden fall out and just get all twisted up. Yeah, he has a bit of a cape, whatever. It's like I said, it's a Hasbro figure. It doesn't get in the way of anything. He has this awesome gun that, like, you basically flip around his hands to reveal these tabs. Flip around his hands to reveal these tabs right here. Flip around the hand, tab. And then you basically just plug the gun into this hand, and it looks pretty awesome, honestly. And it has a good blend of silver and gray in there. Like, and the gray does have like a silverish, like, kind of shine to it. So it's pretty awesome. Honestly, it's not a bad figure, and it's pretty well articulated. I mean, like, look at these arms. That's some pretty good articulation. It's got an ankle pivot. Yeah, it's got an ankle pivot. That's pretty good. Would have been cool if you could rip him in half, but whatever. All I gotta say is, it's not a bad figure, and I think it's definitely worth the $20 because you're getting a nice solid little figure, and something that a lot of movie figures don't do is, like, it's a fun transformation. That's the thing. With these first four, I often have fun with their transformations. That's not a common thing with movie figures. You usually don't have fun with the transformations, but these figures, I have fun, especially with our next figure. I forgot to mention, Jazz is number 10 in the studio series, so number 10, Jazz. Number 14, Ironhide, is probably my favorite. Now, he is kind of in a sea of black, so you can't see all the details, but that head sculpt is amazing. Holy crap, that's an amazing head sculpt. And this is the best movie Ironhide figure out there. I mean, he turns into an officially licensed GMC Top Kick, like all Ironhides do. That's one thing I like about the movie toy lines. They get the officially licensed vehicles. Sorry about chicken camera, I bumped the table. They get the officially licensed vehicles. You know, Bumblebee turns into an officially licensed Chevy Camaro. Ratchet turns into an officially licensed Hummer Ambulance. Jazz turns into an officially licensed Pontiac Solstice. Optimus turns into an officially licensed Peterbilt something 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 truck. I don't know trucks. I only know a bit about cars. And honestly, Ironhide here is awesome. He's nice and bulky and chunky. He's got awesome cannons that are just absolutely incredible. And even kibble isn't that bad. Honestly, when it comes to kibble management, this does better than the Masterpiece. The Hasbro figure that goes for about $30, about the $30 Hasbro figure, has better kibble management than the Masterpiece. You have to get a bit in the legs here, but on the side it looks really cool, so I don't mind. Get a bit of the roof on the back, but it's actually kind of conforms to the body to where, like, you don't even really notice it, and it actually feels like it belongs there. Brilliant. And you even get some like the windows just end up on his arms, but they're so small that they end up getting covered up by the cannons. Also brilliant. Honestly, I think the only bit of kibble that isn't nice is the bumper. And yes, I think it doesn't look the greatest, but it's still fine. I mean, if you fold it in, it's just gonna make him look skinny, which is not my preferred Ironhide. And I'm okay with it being gray because it does add some color to this figure, because that's like the only flaw I can find with it. It's lacking a lot of paint. It could use some more silver, which is something the Masterpiece does do better. But what the Masterpiece doesn't do better is these shoulder sections here. They don't lock in place on the Masterpiece version. This thing locks them in place. It's not that difficult of a concept. And again, the Masterpiece version has all this kibble on the arms and everything. Giant panels that make the cannons look bad. And you know it's like a sin for like Transformers figures if you make movie Ironhide's cannons look bad. That's unforgivable. Takara, you suck. I'm sorry, Takara just starting to suck. The only good thing they've been making recently are Beast Wars figures. Masterpiece Beast Wars figures. But that's about it. Alright. Coming to the home stretch, we got number 32, Optimus Prime. An officially licensed Peterbilt something 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 truck. And the figure looks great. It is supposed to be an update for the number 5 Optimus Prime that came out in the first wave. That figure was for Revenge of the Fallen. This one is for the first film. And it looks better, in my opinion. It looks more accurate. Like here it is, and then here's a picture of the number 5 Optimus. This one just looks more accurate to me. And honestly, the kibble looks better. Almost everything about it looks better. And it does have to make some compromises, like with the legs here. The whole wheel wells doesn't fold down. But that's to make a compromise for like the Jetfire combination, which I may or may not show off. But yeah, it's just better. And that's the only problem I have with the number 5 Optimus. It's made obsolete by this. This thing is just way better. It's got an awesome gun. It's definitely inspired by the masterpiece movie Optimus. Because it has like the whole like paint at the end to make it look like it's been worn out. Awesome detail that I loved on the masterpiece and love on this one. I don't own the masterpiece Optimus movie Optimus because it doesn't look very good. How does this look better than the masterpiece? Riddle me that, Takara. Yeah, this thing looks absolutely awesome. Love this thing to pieces. This thing is cool. This thing is really cool. It's awesome. And it's not too big. It's definitely a Voyager size Optimus, and it feels right. And it doesn't have that many flames in robot mode. But I'm okay with that. I think the flames are stupid. But I think they're just a way to make it look edgier. It's like it's Optimus Prime. He doesn't need to look edgy. He's not Shadow the freaking Hedgehog. Alright. Last up is the latest of the movie. No, it's not the latest. It's the latest of the Autobots, and it's going to be the last one. Because the whole Studio Series 2007 collection is done. So we're ending it with number 49, Bumblebee. Now, I like this figure. It does a couple of things I don't like, but I think this is a huge improvement over this. Like, when I heard that they were going to be making this Bumblebee, I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be a heavy remold of this. Change a few things around, remold the car, blah, 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 fix any of the QC issues. But then it was this, and I'm like, holy crap, it's different. What? Yeah, they're very different. I don't like the way they did the cannon, because it just kind of, this is the cannon, it's all black with nothing on this, it doesn't really fit in with the figure, and it just plugs over the hand. This is something that'll become a reoccurring thing with Bumblebee and other characters with their cannon arms and stuff. But it really only looks good from certain angles. I don't get why they decided to do that, but it only looks good from certain angles. The head sculpt, not a huge fan of. I don't really like the whole Michael Bay Bumblebee battle mask thing. I don't like that. I never did. And I mean, this does it well. This does it pretty well. Would have preferred more like a swappable gimmick. Like, okay, you can swap it out for, the normal head or whatever. Which you can technically do, and this is how I found a way around it. I display this Bumblebee in its robot mode and this Bumblebee in its vehicle mode, and I just swap the heads. And you're never gonna see this thing with the battle mask head on my display, because it'll be in vehicle mode. This one will have the regular head. I might show that off some other time, but we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's it, and that's really all my complaints. That's where my complaints go with this figure. This figure is really good. It looks great. Love it. Like, I think that legs are pretty cool, pretty clever, and people say they're super skinny. They have these big hollow gaps in them or whatever. I don't really have a problem with them. Overall, the figure looks great. It feels great. The transformation is not that bad. It's actually pretty fun. It's got some nice, neat little ingenuity in it. It's cool. That's all I gotta say. It's just a cool figure. So yeah, that's the whole thing. That's all the 2007 Autobots from Studio Series. I know, crazy, right? Only 6 figures, and we have all of them already. Well, yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. I love it. I love it. The first film is what got me into Transformers to begin with. I first watched it when I was 2 years old. Went to go see it. That's when I saw it in theaters. Love Transformers ever since. It's basically what got me into the franchise. It's what got me into G1. Did G1? What? That wasn't English. What? It's basically my G1. That's what it is. That's what I meant to say. It's my G1. It's where I came into the franchise, and
honestly, I think that's where a lot of other people came to the franchise, and I absolutely love what what Hasbro's doing with Studio Series, because the films did bring a lot of people, myself included, into the franchise. Yes, I know they're not the most respectful to G1, to the source material, and to the franchise, and the fans themselves. Michael Bay really doesn't give a crap about us fans. He just, yeah. But I think that's just what he is with every nerdy fandom, because he did the same thing to Ninja Turtles. But this still has a fan base, and I think that fan base deserves the love, deserves some love and attention, which is what they've gotten with Studio Series. And I'm glad Studio Series is a thing. I like collecting it a bunch, simply to show my appreciation for the films bringing me to this honestly great franchise. And honestly, I think having the 2007 Autobots and Decepticons and everything, now having all of those first film characters, is just the coolest. And it looks great in my collection. So, yeah, I figured I'd end this on a shot of all these guys. I can't do that. So, let's see. So that was my review of the Studio Series 2007 Autobots. Subscribe for more content, I guess. Leave a like if you like the video, and stay tuned for the next video where we'll be going over the Decepticons. See ya!